All right, everybody, we're a little bit further along in getting the FPV goggles set up. A little bit interesting. So it turns out I couldn't find a place to go and put the goggles battery because the goggles battery does not go into the goggles. Instead, you plug it in via this little port here, and then this, kind of like I was suggesting, goes in your pocket or whatever. But it's a little interesting because you can't charge it and use it at the same time. So you can't be like using it in wired operation, which probably makes sense for most of the time in the field, but it means it's a little bit awkward because you've got to go and plug it into charge and then unplug it from that and then plug in your goggles to that. But it does mean that the goggles are a lot lighter weight. So I resolved that. What was interesting is with the controller turned on, the goggles turned on, and the drone all turned on, I then put on the goggles to see what it would show me. It said that I would need to activate. I said, okay. And then it took me to a display where I could see what was happening with the drone. Looked like it was projected 2D on a virtual large 2D screen instead of giving me a 3D sense of vision. Makes sense, there aren't two cameras, so you're not going to get stereo vision from it. It's going to be 2D vision. It does open up some interesting possibilities in the future for FPV drones that offer a pair of cameras that are offset in order to offer 3D vision. I don't know if anyone has plans for anything like that, but it could be cool. Obviously, since there's one camera, it's filming in 2D. The quality of the image was pretty good. What was confusing was this kind of setup for doing the activation. So they make you plug in this USB-C port to an OTG cable here, and then I have an iPhone, and I'm filming with it, so I can't show it plugging into the iPhone, but you then plug this into the charge port. I opened up the DJI Fly app, and then it said connect to device, and it gave me a bunch of different options for different drones to connect to, none of which is the DJI FPV. And so that was a little bit awkward. And I had to, I tried a bunch of different things, tried fiddling with the cables, replaced a bunch of the cables, powered off and powered on a bunch of the devices. And the right thing to do turned out to be power cycling the headset and then having the phone be plugged in as I power cycled the headset. That finally brought up the activate screen on the DJI Fly app. So that was a little bit awkward. And then the next screen after that, it said, hey, do you want to view the welcome tutorial after activating your drone? It did put the drone through a reboot cycle, which is fine. And the welcome video is all in Chinese. So they semi-localized it, but they put in some of the wrong videos in there. I don't think they had anyone actually QA it end-to-end to verify that the educational materials that are being presented are actually in the appropriate language at all times. So that was a little sharp edge that was there. So yeah, I'm going to continue exploring with setting this thing up. So far though, the build quality looks very good. The image quality as received from the headset looks very good. So this is looking pretty promising. I'm curious about the proximity sensors and if they're as comprehensive as were found in the Mavic 2 Pro in terms of being able to detect what's around it and making sure you don't fly into anything by accident. But pretty interesting so far. Just continuing to explore and learn about this system.